What's up? It's Tom. Happy you could be here for the first Twins weekend system recap for June. We'll work on what we're calling these things. But anyway, the results and records from this weekend. Not going to go over all of these, but there you have it. The Kernels were postponed. That is one thing I want to make sure to call out from the weekend's action. You can go ahead and pause if you want to look over those. Playoff races. Got a request to check in on these. I'll be honest, though, I don't keep super close tabs on this stuff. And some of the, I don't know about this year, but in the past, some of the dates where the cutoff is for first half, second half are a bit different between some of the leagues. But, I mean, I think the most significant one right now is that the Mighty Muscles are 3 games back in the FSL West. And the first half ends, I think, on June 23rd for them. So we've got a couple weeks still before things close up. But basically, they're trying to lock in a postseason appearance. A lot of these leagues, I know the Florida State League in particular, splits their seasons. I think AA and High A do, but I'm not sure about AAA. I want to say they do, but things are a little bit different. A couple years ago, the AAA season got extended deeper into September, which makes sense. Keep those guys active while the majors are going on. Kind of why they start earlier as well. Anyway, so just something to keep on your radar. Moving on to the news and notes. Royce Lewis got called up. You've probably seen that. Started at second base and moved to first base in his first game back on Saturday. So a sign of things possibly to come for him. James Outman was designated for assignment. Kind of finally. Thankful that the Twins kind of have acknowledged that that's just not going to work. Nothing against Outman. It's just they have so many other options to play. So I think probably Ryan Kreidler becomes the primary backup center fielder, I guess, but they've been running Cody Clemens out there. Whatever, okay. Alan Roden, kind of factors into this picture. He joined the FCL Twins on a rehab assignment. The Wind Surge announced they will switch full-time to the Wichita Turbo Tubs, which is an alternate identity. They have some additional notes in there. But I just want to say I am very suspicious about this being the last time they'll play as the Wind Surge this season, because this will take effect starting next year. But this organization has a identity crisis. They play as like 5 or 6 different identities. So, even though they'll be the Turbo Tubs as their primary identity starting next year, we'll see how many different identities they play as. But from what I understand, from the little I've seen, people in Wichita don't like the Wind Surge name, and they do more embrace the Turbo Tubs name because it has some ties to history in Wichita and around the rivers there. So not going to get too deep into that, but apparently this is a more popular name in Wichita, so I'm all about it then. Moving on to the stars, 3 stars of Friday. The 3rd star, Kyler Fedko. He went 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. So this is a pretty big day for a 2-homer guy to finish in a 3rd star. Tough. Fedko gets squeezed off here. But one of his homers was off former major leaguer Jose Urquidy, who's pitching good but not great in AAA, but still. Fedko has a .601 slugging percentage, which is 5th in the International League, so he's getting it done. 2nd star, Riley Quick, with a tremendous outing for Cedar Rapids. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, 6 strikeouts. So he's been dealing with that finger thing. Looks like he's past that. And then 1st star, Marek Houston, 3 for 5 with 2 homers and a stolen base. Also scored twice and drove in 3 runs. Huge game. In his last 20 games, he's hit .310 with a .381 OBP and a .464 slugging. That's an .846 OPS while going 7 for 7 in stolen base attempts. That's fairly in line with his year-to-date numbers. He kind of hit a slump in like early to mid-May last month, and he's been really hot since then. So those are the 3 stars for Friday. Friday's honorable mentions here. Not going to read through all of them, but do want to call out Luis Fragoza, who I think I'm going to have some highlights on pretty soon here for Limestone Pipeline. But in his first 15 games with Fort Myers now, he's hitting .333 with a .387 OBP and a .649 slugging. That's an OPS north of 1,000 in the Florida State League for a 19-year-old. So this is pretty, it's kind of, some of it is coming out of the power is surprising. He's a big stolen base guy before he got to Fort Myers, and didn't hit a ton of homers, but hit. And all of a sudden he's a .649 slugging percentage in his first 15 games. All of a sudden for the Muscles. So really an eye-opening early run here for him with the Muscles. 3 stars of Saturday. Xavier Kohlhasser of the Cedar Rapids Kernels threw 3 innings of 1-hit, 1-run ball, did not walk anybody and struck out 5. So a nice outing for him. This was just his 3rd game since joining Cedar Rapids. He was a 2024 13th round pick. 2nd star, Marek Houston. Again, Marek Houston, a big week. And they were rained out on Sunday, so he didn't even have a chance to go for 3 for 3 here. But in this game was 2 for 3 with 2 walks and scored 2 runs. A big Friday, not as many standout performances Saturday or Sunday. We'll say that. But Houston, Wichita's rolling with Kyle DeBarge and Jose Salas at shortstop. I think it's only a matter of time before he's moving up. Kalen Culpepper was moved up on June 21st of last year, so he's got a ways to get there. But Luke Heschel, the year prior to that, was promoted to Wichita on May 28th. So he's currently kind of in between when Heschel and Culpepper were promoted. So I think it'll probably happen in that window at some point. So he's playing real well. 1st star, Aaron Sabato, probably the guy I get the most questions about the last month at least. And he is hitting the ball hard. All 3 of his hits were in excess of 95 miles per hour. 3 for 5 with a double and a walk-off home run for Aaron Sabato. His top exit velo was 106.1. He has a .615 slugging percentage, which is 3rd in the International League. So Kyler Fedko and Aaron Sabato crushing it after they both entered this season really as like bench guys for the Saints. I think they kind of took that as a challenge, and obviously some injuries and some other transactions have opened the door for them. But they have run through that door, and it's impressive to see what both of those guys are doing. Saturday honorable mentions, want to call out in particular Merritt Jones, who pitched 4 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts for Fort Myers. In his last 5 games, he's got a 2.14 ERA with 28 strikeouts and 7 walks in 21 innings, so 4 times as many strikeouts as walks. He has a 32.9 K percentage in those last 5 outings, which is particularly noteworthy because he only had a 19.1 K percentage leading up to that point. He topped out at 94.4 miles per hour in this one. So Merritt Jones, keep an eye out for him. Those are the rest of the honorable mentions for Saturday. On Sunday, Ty Langenberg of the St. Paul Saints in a relief outing, 2 1/3 innings of no-run ball, struck out 3. He got 7 swinging strikes while only throwing 35 pitches. This was, I think, his 5th AAA outing after only 9 outings in AA. It's hard to say that he's been pushed. He was in Cedar Rapids maybe longer than he needed to be, but not then. He was only in Wichita briefly before getting moved up to St. Paul. So I think he's still kind of getting calibrated to all that, facing much more advanced hitters than he's faced. He's 24, though, so it's not like he's too young to be in AAA or something like that. I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying that. But he just sort of breezed through AA. 11th round pick from 2023 out of Iowa, and is also from Iowa, so Midwestern guy. Shout out to all the Iowa Twins territory peeps out there. 2nd star, Jarrell Ortega, went 2 for 4 with a home run. Another light day on Sunday. He's among that group of guys, quite a few guys who had over 200 games played with Wichita, but he's seen Ben Ross overcome that. He's seen, not Jarrell Ortega, he is Jarrell Ortega. Ricardo Olivar. Unfortunately, Olivar is injured now, but he made his way up to St. Paul. Ortega's got a ways to go before he's getting into that discussion, but a good game here. He's having a tough year. Andrew Cassetti's in that mix too. Maybe he's getting promoted soon, but a lot of guys have been in Wichita for a long time. Ryan Sprock, though, 1st star of the day for Fort Myers, 2 for 3 with a triple and a stolen base. His .390 OBP ranks 12th in the Florida State League. It's one of the better OBP guys in the FSL. Demiri Pena, his teammate, is 10th. Sprock was a 2025 8th-round pick. He's got 20 starts at catcher, which he had not played catcher at all in college. He's got 11 starts at third base, 5 in left field. So a good ball player. Maybe not the most athletic guy. I wouldn't say that about Ryan Sprock, but a good baseball player. He pitched 25 games in college as well. So a guy who can do a little bit of everything, not pitching now, but has that in his background in college. Moving on to Sunday's honorable mentions. Billy Amick. Billy Amick went 1 for 4 with a homer and a walk. He had his 14th home run. That's tied for the system lead. He is having a really strange year, though. He was the system star of the month for May, even though I don't think he would have. There was a handful of other guys I would consider the hitter of the month above him, but was the star of the month. And I think that kind of speaks to the year he's having too. When he has big games, he has big games, but then he has a lot of empty games. Amick, 14 home runs. He only has 5 doubles. He has 14 homers and 5 other extra base hits. Other than that, that's strange. Versus left-handed pitching this year, he has a 681 OPS. This is a right-handed hitter. He has a 681 OPS as the system leader in home runs against left-handed pitching. That's odd because he had an 852 OPS against lefties last year, so we would expect that not to be a trend to continue. And then adding on to the strangeness of Billy Amick's season, guy who hits the ball hard, hits home runs, hits the ball hard. He has a 242 BABIP this year, compared to a over 400 BABIP last season. Obviously, that he's got to meet in the middle somewhere. It's not going to be as high as it was last year, but 242, that is very low. So strange season so far for Billy Amick, but hitting lots of bombs for Wichita in his first exposure to AA. So certainly a noteworthy season for him so far. On the star scoreboard, Kalen Culpepper still is atop the board, but Marek Houston with this big weekend is coming for him. Only a few points behind Culpepper. So Houston, those shortstops, I list Ben Ross as a shortstop, but he's more of a utility guy since getting promoted to St. Paul. But those guys are getting it done. Kyler Fedko also climbing up the board there. So there are your top 10 for the year, but I want to do some interesting breakdowns here. Here's just the total number of appearances on the star scoreboard. Regardless of your first star, second star, third star, honorable mention, just how many times have you made it on in a day? So again, Culpepper, Houston, still atop the board. I want to call out Winokur and Mercedes because those were guys not in the top 10 on the star scoreboard, but they have been some of the most recent guys or most frequent guys to appear on these lists. You could take a look through the rest of these, but I also want to just break down the most of each star. So the most first stars is actually a big tie, 3. Nobody has more than 3. Ben Ross, Henry Mendez, Mike Paredes, Garrett Spain, and Dason Hill, all have 3 first stars of the day. Eli Jones leads with 4 second stars, and the third stars, both Kalen Culpepper and Brandon Winokur are tied with 3 as the tops. Honorable mentions, both Kalen Culpepper and Marek Houston have 9 honorable mentions. Moving on, some more information. Just bringing a bunch of info for you here. Statistical leaders on the season. This is with minimum 100 plate appearances or 20 innings pitched up to Sunday. So not including Sunday, up to Sunday. So not huge samples. Some of the guys you'll see on here have either been hurt or maybe pitching out of relief. But OBP, Ben Ross leads with 445. Crazy. In the high minors of 445 OBP, Manuel Rodriguez is second there. Slugging, Aaron Sabato at 625. Ricardo Olivar at 603. Homers, Kalen Culpepper and Kyle Fedko at 14. Again, this didn't include Sunday, so Billy Amick would also be in there with 14. Yasser Mercedes leads the system with 23 stolen bases. ERA, Justin Mitrovic, the only guy with 20 innings under a 1 ERA, a 0.87 ERA. Then Paulshan Pasqualato, a 1.17 ERA. We'll see him in a sec here as well. For WHIP, it's 0.92 for both Riley Quick and Darren Bowen. I haven't really had a chance to call out Bowen often. He's been very close to honorable mentions multiple times. He's gotten some too, but a guy who's pitching, 1-2 inning kind of traditional minor league relief role. Kind of hard to break through on any given day when that's the case, but he's pitched really well. Guy who came over in the Jorge Polanco trade and has been, honestly pretty quiet since then. Hasn't done a ton, but it seems like this relief role is really clicking for him in Wichita. Strikeout percentage, Riley Quick with 39.8. Jesus. Paul-Sean Pascolato, too. Again, the second guy in ERA among this sample of 20 minimum innings, 39.3, which is really significant because he hasn't been a big strikeout guy. Recently promoted to Wichita, so we'll see how he settles in there. Then walk percentage, the lowest, 4.5 for Mike Paredes, who is, of course, up with the Twins now, and Matthew Dahlquist, who is a guy from last year's draft. So just wanted to bring some bigger picture information. We obviously focus here, really hone in on daily stuff, but we just wanted to kind of bring those big picture items in. So anyway, Limestone Pipeline, obviously anybody who supports us there, we're really appreciative of. But every Monday, so as you're seeing this, probably either it's already out or it'll soon be out, I put out a kind of week in review type thing where I look back at the week before and call out a handful of hitters and pitchers that have done well and sort of break down their numbers, provide some more information on that. So look out for that. That is free for everyone, that weekly thing on Mondays. So, I understand if you're not able to support us on Patreon, that is for free. Every single week we're doing that on Mondays for free. But for our members, I'm also working on a highlight video that includes some Luis Fragoza, some Marek Houston, and some Riley Quick. So at least that's what I'm aiming for. So that's a work in progress. Maybe that'll come out on Tuesday. We'll see. But anyway, thanks for watching this one. I appreciate you. We'll talk again soon.